morning, and I'm going to give a question to Sammy. Sammy, you've heard all the talk about, we're talking about the communication piece and young players and the lack of actual conversation because of the reliance of texting and special communication pieces of apps. What's your take on that world in terms of your own daughters and the people you work with?
Yeah, I mean it's a hard world to navigate, right? My daughter is 8, her cousin's 8, so it's they're just sort of entering into this foray, and as a parent, knowing what's right and what's wrong. We're pretty lucky that we have a daughter with this incredible imaginary mind who just wants to play all the time. I mean, imaginary play is her forte. If we could just go to the park every single day, she would love that. So the things that she watches, like, because we are like most parents, and sometimes you need some time to be able to get work done or do other things. So she gets tablet time, as we call it. But the things that she's allowed to watch whatever she wants. It's kids YouTube, but she gravitates
Sammy,
towards.
Tom, I think you might have to shut your sound off, Tom. I think there's some background noise, so you can't hear Sammy that well.
Oh, I was just gonna say she gravitates towards. Sometimes she's watching shows, but most of the time she's watching other people craft or other people build Lego or other people do things that on games that she likes. But to me, I mean, it's great. She's super creative. Every night she'll do like 3 or 4 hours of different kinds of art. So she might be cutting up new clothes for her stuffed animals. And then the next moment she's doing watercolor. And the next moment she's creating some new architectural build out of cardboard. But it's all in her head that's going on. But I do find that if she was allowed to just watch the tablet all day, she would. I mean, in a second. She loves it. Like, it's almost like us watching home improvement shows or gardening shows. It's like you kind of think you're doing it a little bit because you're watching somebody else do it, but you're not really doing it. But I mean, part of it, I guess, it gives her some ideas. So interacting with my kids at the hockey school, I certainly find that the cell phones seem to become prevalent around age 11, 12, or I would say the upper age groups of my hockey school, they all have one. Like, they would all have one. It would just be part of safety, I think, for the parents, that they can get a hold of their kids. But then they also, I mean, they're on Snapchat, they're on TikTok, they're doing stuff. And I love what Jordan was saying, that it takes the choice out of it for the kids, because I think a lot of it is the fear of missing out, that they're not a part of something or they're going to miss something. But if nobody's allowed to do it, then it just is almost glorious. It's like whenever adults take, a getaway trip and go camping, or they go to a different country or a resort where you can't communicate on your cell phone as much, and everybody seems to love it, but then everybody gets right back into it as soon as they get home, because you don't want to miss out, or you don't want to miss seeing something, or but I think I'm like Jordan. I try to stay off social media because I just go down rabbit holes, and I never feel better getting off of it than I did getting onto it initially. So yeah, but it's not to say that I don't go check it and I don't go looking at it, but it certainly doesn't bring me joy like a lot of other things in life do. So I think for all of us, remembering that, and remembering that these kids, this is the world they live in too. So like, my daughter is on a computer at school all day long too. Like, the tablets are in the classroom. They're learning on the classroom, and the whiteboard up front is a smart board where they're watching shows and they're doing things. So they got to know how to navigate it too. And I feel for teachers. How do you teach that, or how do you allow them to learn enough, but then also allow this other side of creativity to just happen?
Sammy, you used the word joy. And I think, I'm curious about everybody's, what are the most joyful things that are happening with you today in today's world? in the present time. And myself, the most satisfying thing is working with U13 girls and the coaching staff and watching how they respond. The young girls in particular are so focused and enjoying it and working so hard and performing so well. I can't sleep at night because I wake up thinking about it.
So excited. Wally, is that Jordan's team, like with Cassie, or no?
No, it's an age group younger. Tom
Okay.
is coaching the U15s. Cassie daughter's on that team. But really, that's my most satisfying thing to do is when I go out to an ice time. This year, if I'm present and with the permission of the coaches, I'm doing a progression on defensive play related to tactical skating and then playing 1-on-1 and 2-on-2 situations in the D zone. And what they've
And it
done
brings you joy.
oh yeah, like well, it brought me joy when I was coaching you guys because it was sort of your wheelhouse because you spent your life working on that, coaching against the Soviets, and now you get a chance to share it. And when you see people taking it to heart and getting so much better at it, it's quite satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're working in a role I am where it's more interfering and trying to avoid getting in the way and yet being helpful as much as you can. Yeah, so it's a time that you feel, gee, that was worthwhile. I felt good about it. And I know the girls did too, because of the enthusiasm they showed throughout and even after, and the thank yous after. So it's quite rewarding. But um, there is an app that called Find Me. Are you familiar with that, Cassie?
Like Find Me. I just know like Find My Phone, but not Find Me.
Okay, it's called I Find Me, and in other words, uh, I've asked my family members to have that app so they could follow me wherever I am.
Oh, I gotcha. So you are like your phone beeps for them with a map.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I would appreciate knowing where they are,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't want to give me that information. You know what I'm saying? There's that privacy,
Mm-hmm.
and I've that bothers me because all I want to know is where they are. I want to connect with their lives in terms of, gee, they're at this campgrounds in Timbuktu or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I keep encouraging me whenever they go out, say on a weekend or fishing or something, send me a picture because it you're living alone here and your family's away from you, and it's a chance to hear from them, see them, and very close to the present. So I find that's a little bit challenging for me. I'm frustrated by the fact I want them to track me for my own safety and their own concern. And I'd sure like to be
But
able to.
Wally, what are they doing? They don't want you to know where they're going.
Well, I think there's a sense of privacy they want.
Yeah.
And
Or they just don't want to answer all the questions, maybe. I don't know.
it's hard to say. I just scratch my head about it and let her be. I don't want to.
I think most parents now, when kids get cell phones, that is a regular part of the cell phone. Like, that is exactly why they're getting the cell phone, is to be able to track the kids. And even like, for instance, on our bus, some of the parents who have older kids know when the bus is late because the loop that they're on, they're still stuck at the school. The bus is still at the school. So like things like that are just super handy to know, like, oh, I have time to start dinner or whatever. But Peter, I'm curious if do you have a